sold us a dream in the 32nd spot between the football game and everything we got, by opening our wallets wide and closing down our eyes to the man behind the curtain, selling freedom wrapped in lies. They told us buy enough and you'll be satisfied. Told us work enough and you'll be dignified. But the factory closed in October in the fall. Dignity don't pay the heating bill at all. I've been watching since my daddy showed me how to see the space between what's sold and what the truth might be. They sold us the dream and they kept the real thing. They sold us the dream while the hollow bells ring in the churches built by lawyers on the backs of the poor. They sold us the dream. I don't want it no more. Give me the red dirt and the hard truth and the cross on the hill. Give me the word that was written before they could build me for the meaning of my own soul on this earth. They sold us the dream, but I know what truth is worth. They told us we could vote our way to something real, while the lobbyists were writing every bill and every deal that sent the work to somewhere cheap and left the people here holding broken promises and a six-pack and a beer and a television set that kept on selling more of everything they promised would unlock the golden door. The door was painted on the wall of someone else's house. They sold us the dream and they cleaned us out. I don't say this with the bitterness of a man who's lost his faith. I say it with the clarity of a man who found his place outside the system and outside the selling and the spin. On my knees in a field where the truth can still get in. The gospel that I carry ain't got nothing left to sell. It cost a man who wrote it everything. You know that story well. The cross don't come with fine print and it don't come with a fee. They sold us the dream, but the truth was always free. They sold us the dream. Red dirt and hard truth, the word was always free. My granddaddy never darkened the church door his whole life, but he raised 7 children and he loved his only wife for 53 years without a single broken vow. And he prayed every morning, let me tell you how. He walked out to the fence line before the sun came up. Put one boot on the bottom rail with his coffee in his cup, and he'd look out at the pasture like he was looking at the Lord, and talk plain like a neighbor, not a prayer from a board. Never said an amen, never bowed his head inside, but every blade of grass he tended testified God don't live in a building, and he don't wear a suit. He lives in the conviction of an old man telling truth to the morning before anyone else is even awake. God don't live in a building, he lives in what we make of the days we're given and the ground beneath our boots. God don't live in a building, he lives in roots. I've been told the church is where you have to go to find the grace. I've been told to dress up right and show the proper face to the congregation, smile and tithe and never doubt the line that the building and the organization are divine. But I've seen too much corruption in the carpeted halls, and too much real religion in the honest open calls of men who never once sat in an offered padded seat to believe that God is partial to what's polished and what's neat. I ain't against the church, let me make that plain. Some of them are doing what they say and carrying the weight of real community in real and broken places. That is true, but the building ain't the God, and you don't need the building to pursue the same Lord that my granddaddy found at a fence line in the frost, the same grace that waits at the bottom when you're genuinely lost. My granddaddy passed in April at the fence line where he prayed, God don't live in a building, he was right there when he laid. God don't live in a building, one boot on the bottom rail, coffee in his cup, still talking plain. The county newspaper ran 12 pages every Thursday, births and deaths and who bought what land on Saturday. The sheriff's report listed every minor infraction clean. The county don't lie about the things it's really seen. You couldn't hide a secret in a county of 2,000 souls. Everybody knew your business, and they knew what that meant. Tolls on your reputation, but they also knew your name. And when the trouble hit, they came. It was always the same. The national news tells stories for the ones who don't live here. The county keeps the record of what actually was clear. The county don't lie, it keeps the honest count of who showed up to help and what each family's worth amounts to in the actual living talking heads can find. They come out here and film the poverty and pick the worst. They take the image back and make the region fit the cursed narrative of backwards and of ignorant and lost. They never filmed the neighbor who drove 40 miles in frost to sit with the widow through the first night after grief, or the volunteer fire department running on belief, and potluck fundraisers because the county can't afford the taxes that would cover it. The county's its own lord. I love this county like I love the complicated truth of a family you don't leave because of how it's used. You're sometimes against itself. You stay and you speak plain, and you work to make it better through the drought and through the rain. The outside world sees poverty and writes us off as done. The county sees 2,000 people under the same sun who've been surviving harder things than headlines since the start. The county don't lie, it lives inside my heart. The county don't lie. 12 pages every Thursday, births and deaths and real. She ironed his collar every Sunday morning before dawn, pressed the white shirt perfect while he practiced what to draw. Applause from the congregation with his polished up delivery. She ironed his collar knowing everything he'd done by Wednesday. The calls that came after midnight on the fellowship phone, the trips to the city conference he attended alone. She ironed his collar and she held her peace for years. The preacher's wife knew everything. She swallowed all the tears. The ones who hold the institution up are never at the front. They're in the kitchen and the nursery doing all the work. The preacher's wife knew everything and said nothing for 20 years. The preacher's wife knew everything, and she prayed through all the tears. Not for him, she'd stopped praying for him long ago. She prayed for the congregation sitting in the row, who needed what the word says true, regardless of the man. The preacher's wife knew everything and chose to make her stand for the gospel, not the person. That's a different kind of faith. The preacher's wife knew everything, and God knew her face. October, when the deacons finally called a meeting in the hall, she sat in the back row and she didn't say it all. She had enough to bury him 100 times and more, but she spoke of grace and process and walked out the door of that church for the last time. preaching 2 towns down the lane, where nobody knew her name or what she'd carried all those years. The preacher's wife knew everything and finally shed those tears. I'm singing for the women who have propped up broken men, who have loved the institution more than honesty, and then discovered that their silence was mistaken for complicity. I'm singing for the women who held real faith and dignity, while the men in front of them were trading on its name for whatever keeps a broken man inside his image frame. Your faith was never in the man, it was always in the Lord. The preacher's wife knew everything, and she still has the word. The preacher's wife knew everything. She drove away in November rain, found a small church 2 towns down. Nobody knew her name. She was finally home.
The empire runs on broke men, always has and always will. They need the desperate kind who'll take the job and take the bill, and swallow all the pride that comes with 40 hours a week of giving everything they've got to someone else's peak. Quarterly earnings on a board they'll never see. The empire runs on broke men, that includes you and me. They keep us just above the line of leaving and stay put, just enough to keep us chained, not enough to get the foot off the neck of everything. Keeps the wealthy fed. The empire runs on broke men and the broke men's daily bread. I don't say this out of hatred for the man above the rung. I say it as a man who sees the ladder for what it's hung from. Nothing solid, just another man's idea of who owns what and why. And that's the thing I fear. The empire runs on broke men, working fields they'll never own. The empire runs on broke men, dying far from home. And was it somebody else's son? We'll never have to fight. The empire runs on broke men, and the outlaw sees it right. Through the machinery of every system built to keep the ones who do the work from getting anything to keep, except the promise of the next election's better day. The empire runs on broke men, flame lights the way. My grandfather laid pipe for 40 years and got a pension that they cut in half. Can you believe that rot? Legal by the fine print of a contract he never read, because nobody told him he should hire legal aid instead. of trusting in the handshake and the company man's word. The empire runs on broken men and their trust. That's what I heard at my grandfather's table when the pension letter came. The empire runs on broken men, and it doesn't feel no shame. The only thing they haven't got a price for yet is the faith of a man who ain't got nothing left to get from playing by their rules, and who still chooses the true path of the honest and the righteous and the few who see it clearly and keep living anyway. Not because the system fixed itself today, but because the Lord they follow don't run on the broke. The grace of God runs on the poor, and that ain't no joke. That's the whole economy of everything that's real. The empire runs on broke men. God runs on what heals. The empire runs on broke men. My grandfather's pension letter, blue flame lights the way. God's economy runs different.
They said she up and left one April morning with no word. The story spread through church before the Wednesday service heard its final amen. By then it was settled in the town that she was the problem and the trouble and the crown of all their worry about what the younger women do when they stop being grateful for the life that's chosen for you. She didn't leave. She was pushed by 20 years of small, invisible pressures, 1,000 paper cuts that fall below the threshold of what anybody names as wrong. She didn't leave, she was pushed. That's the honest song. The ones who pushed her never felt the weight of what they moved. The ones who watched her go just talked about what she had proved. She didn't leave. She was pushed out the door by the silence and the smallness and the wanting more than what they'd given her, which was the shape of what she should be, not the shape of who she was and who she could have been if anyone had asked her once what she desired. She didn't leave, she was pushed. Now she's free and fired up with everything she swallowed for those 20 quiet years. She didn't leave, she was pushed, and she's done shedding tears. She drove to the next county and she got herself a job, not the kind they'd call respectable, but honest work that robbed nobody, that paid the rent and kept the lights on clean. And she started going to a church that hadn't heard or seen the story that they told about her back in town. She sang the old hymns differently, not swallowing them down, but letting them come up from where she'd stored them all those years. She didn't leave, she was pushed into her truest atmosphere. I'm singing for the women labeled difficult and wrong, for the ones who kept a small life when they deserved the long version, for the ones who finally stopped being small and walked out into everything they'd never been at all. The world calls them damaged, and it calls them hard to love. I call them the survivors of a particular kind of shove, from spaces that were built too tight to hold the real them in. She didn't leave, she was pushed, and now she gets to begin. She didn't leave, she was pushed. Next county, honest work. The old hymns coming up from where she'd stored them, finally beginning.
Came with cameras in the summer of the flood, filmed the broken levee and the people in the mud. For 30 seconds at the 6 o'clock before the weather came, and that was all my county got, 30 seconds and a name. In the crawl below the anchor's perfect, pressed tight, the lie they call the news walked in and waved goodbye. They didn't stay to watch us fix it like we always do. They had a better story somewhere else to run it through. The camera finds the worst and calls it the report. Then the nation forms an opinion from a 30-second chord. The lie they call the news rolls in at 6 and 10. The lie they call the news creates its world and then moves on to the next disaster, the next face, the next divide. The lie they call the news was never on our side. It was built to sell the thing that keeps the people scared, and scared enough to keep on watching. Nobody's prepared by fear to love their neighbor. That's the only truth I know. The lie they call the news, turn it off and let it go. My neighbor lost his farm last year to the bank's decision. The local paper ran it front page, it didn't need a vision. Statement from the corporate office, carefully arranged. My neighbor lost his farm, and then the headline changed to something else by Thursday. That's the shelf life of your pain. In the media economy, they'll harvest it for gain and move along the moment that the audience gets bored. My neighbor lost his farm. The lie ignored the Lord. I ain't saying shut your eyes to what is happening around you. I'm saying check the source before you let the story ground you. in someone else's manufactured outrage for the click. The truth is usually slower, and it usually makes you sick. Not because it's partisan or pointing any blame, but because the truth is complicated and it don't fit in the frame. They sell you on the hour with the urgency of now, the lie they call the news. I'm done with it somehow. The lie they call the news. 30 seconds at 6 o'clock. My neighbor's farm, turn it off. Plant something real. Raymond Lee lived in a house at the end of County Road 8, where the pavement turned to gravel and the county let it wait. 40 years for maintenance that never seemed to come. Raymond Lee just filled the holes himself and didn't succumb to bitterness. He had a garden and a good dog and a truck that ran on his own mechanical knowledge and the luck of a man who learned to fix things, because fixing things is life. Raymond Lee last winter, no children and no wife. The county didn't know his name until the January call, when the carrier saw his newspaper collecting in the hall. Raymond Lee's last winter was a cold one like the rest. He stacked his firewood higher and he gave the garden rest. He'd been giving things to rest for 87 years. Raymond Lee's last winter, nobody saw the tears. Oh, the moments in the evening when he talked to someone there, in the chair across the table, whether memory or prayer. Nobody came to check on him because nobody knew Raymond Lee's last winter, and now the whole town does. When they went inside, they found the house in perfect order. Every bill paid, every dish clean, every border of his property maintained with 40 years of care. His Bible on the table with a ribbon marking where he'd been reading Psalm 23. I shall not want. Raymond Lee had circled it. The county sent their font of social workers 6 months late, and a season short. Raymond Lee's last winter, that's the court's report. I tell you about Raymond Lee because this county's full of them, the ones who live entirely outside the system's helm, who built their lives on self-reliance and on knowing how to do the thing without the manual and without the vow of the institution's help. They built America and then they aged alone inside it. That's the barrier the empire never fixed, because it
how to profit from the ones who learn to live without. I wanna be the kind of neighbor Raymond Lee deserved. Raymond Lee's last winter, that's the lesson I've preserved. Raymond Lee's last winter. Psalm 23 circled. I shall not want. Be somebody's neighbor before January comes.
I learned everything the hard way. That's just how I'm built. I couldn't take the straight road, so I took the guilt of every shortcut and the consequence that followed clean. I've been the cautionary tale, and I've been the in-between. Version of a woman who was something and then wasn't, and then something different again. The road just doesn't run straight for the particular kind of woman that I am. I learned everything the hard way. That's my telegram. They offered me the easy path, and I kept looking for the real. The real is always harder, and the real is always more to feel. The hard way home is the only way I've traveled. The hard way home, every road I've tried has unraveled to the same place eventually, on my knees on the ground. The hard way home, blue flame is where I found that the miles don't count against you when the grace counts you in. The hard way home, oh, that's where I've always been. And the Lord waited for me at the end of every wrong turn. The hard way home, the only lesson I could learn. I was gone for 7 years, not dead but close enough to the version of gone that makes the family go tough and quiet when your name comes up at the holiday table. I came back broken, humbled, and not entirely stable. But back and the mama who should have turned me from the door said, "You look tired, come in." I made a pot, sit on the floor. If that's where you're comfortable, she didn't ask me where. The hard way home, and she was standing there. To every woman on a road that's running long and cold, to every daughter whose mama still sets a place at the table for the one that's not home, to every woman who believes she went too far to turn around. The hard way home is still a road that leads to solid ground. But grace don't get tired of waiting, I'm the proof of that. I showed up with nothing, and the Lord gave me my life back. The hard way home, take the next road back from where you are. The hard way home, you ain't nearly gone too far. The hard way home, mama said, "Come in," said,
finally cleaned up and camera, ready for the pew. A press shirt faith that fit the picture they pursue of what a Christian looks like in their particular county. I had tattoos and a history and a somewhat bounty of complications that didn't fit the welcome brochure well. I tried for a year to be their version. Lord, I tried like hell, but the faith they were selling wasn't big enough to hold the real shape of the person that the Lord already called. The mold they built was built for someone smaller than the man that God already knew when he was drawing up the plan. I ain't built for their version, I'm built for the original. I ain't built for the polish and the periodical Sunday morning performance of a faith that cost you nothing. I ain't built for their version, I was built for something rawer and more honest and more willing to admit that the Lord I carry with me is the Lord that fits the actual shape of my actual life on this actual ground. I ain't built for their version, I'm glad that I found the back pew where the ones who couldn't fake it either sit. The veterans and the addicts and the ones who don't quite fit. The Sunday morning catalog, polished and approved. The Lord keeps calling outlaws, that's historically proved. From the fisherman to the tax collector to the thief hanging on the cross, who found his way to belief. With his last breath, the Lord don't run a quality control on the shape of the container that's delivering the soul. I bring the real meat to the altar every time. The scars and the mistakes and the particular crime of my history. I don't dress him up or hide them from the Lord. He already knows the record. That's not what the cross restored. It restored the future. Let the record stand as read. The man I was is dead, and who I'm become's fed by our grace that don't require a performance or a tie. I ain't built for their version, but I'm the Lord's own guy. I ain't built for their version, back pew where the real ones sit. The Lord don't run quality control. Original, always original.
My mama never told me the world was gonna be fair. She told me it was harder than my daddy's prayer could fix, and that the fairness was my job to build in my own small corner of the ground I tilled. She didn't promise me the happy ending of the screen. She said, baby, there are beautiful and broken things between, where you start and where you land. That's just the road. My mama never lied to me. That was her code. She gave me tools instead of promises, and that was the gift. The 20 years of living taught me was the greatest lift. My mama never lied to me, and Lord, I thank her for it. Every comfortable falsehood that the world tries to afford it. Me, I measure it against what mama said was true. My mama never lied to me. She said, God sees you through every version of yourself, and what he sees is worth the honest showing up. That's the only thing of worth on this particular journey. Mama told me plain, my mama never lied to me. I say it in the rain. She told me men to tell me what they thought I needed hearing. She told me learn the difference between what's real and what's appearing. Real, she said, the realness shows itself in time, and what a man does in the dark is the only paradigm that matters. Not the daylight version curated for the crowd. My mama never lied to me. She said, daughter, be proud of the capacity to see through what the world presents. My mama never lied to me. That's the consequence. I carry clear eyes and a harder road. I wish I could have given her more ease in the later years, when the road we built together started costing her in tears that she never fully showed me. I could see them anyway, behind the honesty, the price she paid to stay that clear and that committed to the truth as she could see it. My mama never lied to me, and now I need to be it for my own daughter who is watching how I carry on. My mama never lied to me. I'll keep that going strong. My mama never lied to me. She said, baby, there are beautiful and broken things between. Clear eyes, harder road, pass it on.
Saturday night at the Blue Top on the edge of town, where the hard-working people come to lay their burdens down, just for an hour before they pick them up again. The jukebox running gospel, and the talk gets real by 10. Old Darryl from the plant's been coming 20 years. He solved more problems at that bar than most men ever clear. In offices and session rooms with clipboards and degrees, the watering hole sermon, come as you are and please. The bar don't judge your income
lives. Watering hole sermon, that's where a man gives the unpolished version of his actual life and fear. Watering hole sermon, nobody judges here. Just the recognition of another broken person trying to survive. Watering hole sermon, how the outlaw stays alive in the neighborhood of faith without the formal hall. Watering hole sermon, come one, come on. I've heard the best theology at the end of a bar from a man who never read the commentary far as I could tell, but who had read his life so well that what is said about the grace of God could hold and tell more truth than a degree could manufacture into speech. The real stuff lives in the actual, beyond the formal reach of the institution, in the place where people drop the performance.
Watering hole sermon,
Don't stop. I know what the scripture says about the drunkard and the wine. I'm not recommending the particular path, just the design of the community that forms when people stop performing and get honest. The bar is just the place of the reforming of the masks. It could be anywhere that people let the pressure off enough to say what they haven't said yet. To anybody, the watering hole is just the venue where the sermon happens. God shows up to meet them there. Watering hole sermon, old Darryl from the plant, the jukebox running gospel. Come as you are, God shows up to meet you there. There's a plaque on the courthouse with the founder's name in brass, but nobody remembers who mixed the mortar and the glass into the walls that hold the plaque. Nobody carved that name in anything but stone, and then the stone was called by someone else's fame. My great uncle laid brick for 30 years on every building in this county that still stands, and now the children fill it. Tour groups through the historic district hear the benefactor's name. The men who built it all don't have a plaque. That's the plain shame. History keeps the ledger of the ones who had the deed. The men who built it all just had the calluses and need. The men who built it all, nobody wrote them in the book. The men who built it all, come down here and take a look at the hands that shaped the stone and poured the concrete and the steel. The men who built it all, blue flame says it real. They had names and they had families, and they had a right to be remembered in the daylight, not just in the night of the history that erased them for the tidier account. growing heat that would have killed a man who hadn't been built to meet that particular suffering with that particular will. They built the line that opened up the West and the Bill. For the celebration dinner went to men in suits. The men who built it all just went back to their roots and kept on building. That's the American tradition of extracting all the labor and erasing the position of the person who performed it. Just a brand that stays clean. The men who built it all, you know exactly what I mean. I carry the names of the men who built what I inherited. The men who laid the pipe and ran the wire and delivered it to me without a choice in whether I received it right. I owe them the acknowledgement, I owe them the light of the honest record. Not the bronze and not the plaque, but the song that says I know who built this and I'm giving back the credit to the labor and the sweat and the year. The men who built it all. Blue flame country's here. The men who built it all. My great uncle laid brick for 30 years. Nobody carved his name. We're carving it now.
River at the edge of this old county knows more truth than every courthouse document that goes back to the founding. The river witnessed it all. Every secret that the land would later call progress or prosperity, or manifest and right. The river kept the honest record in its muddy light. Every crossing and every drowning and every prayer said hello by people whose names the history books let go. The river don't take sides and it don't write the books, but it holds the memory of every sin and every broken look. What the river knows would fill 1,000 years of pages. What the river knows has been kept safe through all the ages of official narratives and landmark courthouse tours. What the river knows, the water runs it through its pores into every reed and root along the muddy bank. What the river knows, we have the river to thank for holding what the men in charge decided not to say. What the river knows, it still runs true today. My grandmother's grandmother crossed this river late in fall, running from the things she couldn't name to any of y'all. In polite company, but the river knew her name. The river kept family's telegram. I go down to the bank sometimes on early Sunday morning before the world gets loud. I go there for the warning that the river gives to anyone who gets still enough to hear the patience of the water and the presence of the fear that drove the ones before me, and the courage that they carry. Despite it, the river holds him all. The born and buried, and the buried, and the ones who crossed and never made the shore. What the river knows, I keep going back for more. What the river knows. My grandmother's grandmother crossed in the fall. The river kept her name, still running true, still knowing everything.
I stopped the truck on a gravel road one morning in October. The kind of morning that makes everything sober, with the weight of beauty, frost on the fields and the sun coming low across the tree line, and the whole world undone into something I couldn't name, but felt in the chest, the way you feel a song before you know it's your best. Memory, I turned the engine off and sat there still. Gravel road communion on an October hill. The Lord don't need the building, but the Lord does need your stillness. In whatever gravel moment strips you of your willingness to keep pretending everything is fine. An ordinary gravel road communion, just me and the Lord. The bread is the morning light across the frozen floor. The wine is the creek below, still running in the cold. Gravel road communion, that's the oldest story told. Not the polished version in the organized hall, but the moment in the field when you surrender all. The performance and the doctrine and the carefully arranged gravel road communion. Nothing has to change. I've taken real communion in a church and it was good. I felt the weight of meaning like a man of faith should. In the ritual of the gathered that is real and true. But I've also met the Lord on a gravel road at 2. In the morning when the stars were like a congregation, and the silence was the sermon, and the whole creation was the building and the choir secret either way. The Lord don't check credentials before He shows up to stay. Gravel road communion, October morning, frost on the fields, frost on the fields, the creek below still running in the cold.
The pill mill opened on a Tuesday in the spring, with a doctor and a license and a waiting room and ring. Of pharmaceutical representatives with their samples and their smiles, and within 18 months they'd reach the grandkids in the aisles of the grocery store. I'm talking fourth generation hooked on something that a company had cooked up in a lab and sold to regulators as benign. The pill mill county, we should have read the sign. The sign was in the settlement that paid without admitting wrong. The sign was in the company's internal memo all along. The pill mill county used to have a name for something else. Used to be the kind of place that still had community health. Before the doctors got the kickbacks and the company got the deal, they put a bottle in the hands of every man with a real legitimate back pain from the legitimate work that built this country and the pill mill county's quirk was that we trusted the prescription pad and the white coat said. The pill mill county, 30 empty chairs instead of fed. My cousin was a lineman, strong as anyone you've seen. 2009 he fell and shattered L4 and 3 between. The vertebrae that held his whole life upright and intact. The doctor gave him OxyContin, and that's simply that. The company knew the addiction rate, they had the data clean. The pill mill county never should have seen the volume that they sent us, but the algorithm said the demographics matched the target, and we bled. I don't want your apology from a settlement fund that gets disbursed to lawyers while the county's undone. I want somebody to say out loud what happened here was criminal, and what the company called collateral was actual individuals with actual names who had actual families, who will set an actual empty chair for the actual truth of what your product did to our particular zip code. So Pill Mill County, that's the honest toll. Pill Mill County.
30 empty chairs. We remember every night. The settlement don't cover that.
I spent 30 years trying to make this world behave like it owed me something from the cradle to the grave. I carried every injustice like a personal affront and ran myself to nothing, chasing every want that the world decided it would dangle in my face. And then I reached the end of running, and I found the grace that my grandmother tried to hand me when I was young and proud. This world ain't the home, she said it plain and loud. She didn't say ignore the suffering or quit the fight for right. She said do it from a different understanding of the night. This world ain't the home, and it was never meant to be. This world ain't the home, that's the outlaw's clarity. Fight for what is right here. You still have to do the work, but hold it all a little looser. Don't let it be the church of your devotion. The kingdom that we're building toward is bigger than the county and the country and the Lord. Ain't living in a nation blue flame burns for more. This world ain't the home, we're heading somewhere sure. The politicians promise what they know they cannot deliver, and the people keep on buying it and shaking like a shiver of expectation every cycle that this time will be the turn. This world ain't the home, that's the hardest thing to learn. For the ones who love it, and I love it, Lord, I do. The red dirt and the river and the people I came through, but I hold it like a morning mist, beautiful and brief. This world ain't the home, that's the outlaw's relief. I don't say this from a distance, and I don't say it cold. I say it from the middle of the fight for real and bold justice and the dignity of every breathing soul. I say it as a man who's working toward the whole version of what's promised, but I work it like a man who knows the score is kept somewhere the powerful can't scan or alter or adjust. The final count is sure. This world ain't the home, but Lord, this world is worth the cure. Of every broken thing we have the power to address. This world ain't the home. My grandmother said it plain. Blue flame burns for more, still fighting from the right foundation. said redneck like it was the lowest thing a man could be, standing in the city with their education and their feet. For the enlightenment I obviously was needing, I smiled and let him have it, and I kept right on believing in the knowledge that my grandfather passed down with his hands, in the knowing of the land and how it gives and how it stands. Up against the weather and the market and the year, redneck ain't an insult, it's a heritage right here. They took the word and made it into comedy and shame, but the thing the word describes was never something lame. Redneck ain't an insult where I come from. Redneck is the sun on the back of every son who worked the field until the field was done for the day. Redneck ain't an insult, it's the working man's way of being in the world without apology for how his hands look or his truck looks, or the knowledge of the plow that doesn't show up on a resume but built this whole terrain. Redneck ain't an insult, it's the red clay and the rain. They also sold the word back to us, polished up and loud, on hats and bumper stickers for the superficially proud version of an identity that lost the actual thing. Redneck ain't a brand to sell, and redneck ain't a ring to wear on television for the ratings and the deal. Redneck is my grandfather's hands, that's the real definition. The man who worked until the work was done and didn't need the platform or the microphone or gun of approval from whoever decided what was cool. Redneck ain't an insult, it's the grandfather's school. I carry this word back from both the ones who weaponized it cruel and the ones who commercialized it into a marketing tool. I carry it the way my grandfather carried the name of a man who showed his character through work and not through fame. The redneck from the sun while working somebody's field is the origin, and the origin's what I yield to nobody's redefinition from the left or from the right. Redneck ain't an insult, it's my people's honest light. Redneck ain't an insult, my grandfather's hands, the red clay and the rain. Nobody's redefining that, not the left and not the right. It's ours. It's ours. They built the world and left us out of what it built toward. They drew the lines and put us on the unprofitable side of the board and called it market forces for the natural order of the thing. We were left behind by everything except the Lord we bring
into every broken morning of the life they left us with. The ones who were left behind aren't living in a myth
of grievance. We are living in the actual real of what it costs to be the ones that no program wants to feel.
They built the church and left us at the back pew and the side. They built the narrative and left us somewhere just outside
the center of the story. We were always just the backdrop
of somebody else's journey. We were never at the top
of anybody's list of who to call when things went right.
The ones left behind
know how to navigate the night with nothing but the faith we found
at the bottom of the run. Out of everything,
that's where the Lord always comes. The ones who are left behind by every program and plan.
the ones who are left behind
By the system and the man who said our kind of broken
didn't fit.
the kind of fixed.
He was selling blue flame country.
Is the ones who mixed the red dirt and the hard truth and the gospel of the real.
The ones who are left behind
By everything
except what heals.
we are still standing on the ground.
That no one claimed was worth. The ones who are left behind.
We are the salt of this earth. I've been left behind enough to know what it produces, and the ones who stay and work instead of making excuses. It produces the particular toughness of the real that no classroom and no policy can teach you how to feel. The left behind are the backbone of everything that lasted, every barn and every field and every faith that blasted through the generations of the hard years and the loss. The ones who were left behind, we know the cross. I've been left behind by people who should have stayed and didn't.
By institutions that claim to hold the grace but hidden.
Hid behind requirements I couldn't meet or afford.
The ones left behind
Know there's grace in the Lord that doesn't come with a credential or a qualifier.
the ones left behind
God's the only one who's higher
on our list than the evidence of what we've endured.
the ones who were left behind
We are not cured,
of the struggle, but
we're still here.
still on the ground. The ones who are left behind
By every lie and scheme,
the ones who are left behind.
oh, the selling of the dream.
We found the thing that doesn't come in.
A 30-second spot
We found the grace that costs nothing.
and gives everything it's got.
Blue flame country is the ones who never fit the plan. Blue flame country is the woman and the
Working
who
man,
kept the faith when faith was all they had left in hand.
the ones who were left behind.
This is where we stand,
The ones left behind.
still standing.
Blue flame country,
We are the salt of this earth.
we are still here.
The Lord